Hey, what's happening? What's poppin', everybody? You got the BBC King Iron Flash Gaming versus Danza for playoffs, as he was able to beat Melantosh last week, as we were able to get our first round bye. So now we're hopping in the playoffs, and we're gonna be putting our flex mode on. So I was driving to work the other day, and I was thinking to myself, okay, I'm facing Danza, and he was able to win versus me last time I was able to play him. But I know if I face him again, he's going down. There ain't no second thoughts about it. So I'm thinking to myself, it's like, okay, I'm thinking about the teams, and I'm driving to work, and I almost hit a squirrel. But the thing was like the squirrel was trying to dodge my car, and I was trying to dodge the squirrel. And that almost resulted me hitting the squirrel. And there's a point to that, because if I were to drive 100% straight without turning at all, the squirrel would be able to project where my tire would go, and it would then run around my tire, no questions asked. And if I was driving and the squirrel were to stay still, like if it was like a rock or something like that, I can safely drive around it. But because I could not predict the squirrel, and the squirrel could not predict me, we almost contacted, and I might have ran over the squirrel, but I don't think I did. But there's a point to that when building for Danza. One of the biggest criticisms that, well, kind of like the back and forths, is that I don't want to be in a position where I have to predict Danza. Just because there are situations in which, in the beginning of the game, you design a Pokemon, and it's meant to defensively check if you have the ability to. With a balanced build, you switch into one of your mons, like you plan for certain things. You plan, okay, I'm always going into this mon in this scenario. So that's kind of easy to predict, because they have a AV Metagross for the Mega Dancy, and they always go AV Metagross on Mega Dancy no matter what. Another scenario is late game. Late game, you have a value system. The mon that has the least value is, okay, this mon, Silvally, it loses to 3 out of the 4 mons. This has not as much value as Mega Glade or something like that. And so there's decisions based on, you know, whether it's the value system or you already have stock plays. But with Danza, it's a little bit tricky, because there's more, in fact, but it's very difficult for me to get a very good reading on him, because I've unfortunately seen him make these wild plays, and I don't want to be in a position, and it's more so of he can play super safe sometimes, where he doesn't have to play safe, but he plays safe. And sometimes when he's in the driver, it's mostly, Danza is mostly dangerous when he has the driver's seat, when he gets to play the offensive game. So I decided, I know what I basically want to do here. Now, there's different ways in which I can win. You can counter build your opponent's Pokemon. Obviously, in Draft League format, that's mostly what it's about. But you can also counter build versus playstyles, and this is the direction in which I want to do. There's 2 things that I'm going to accomplish with this team builder, and we're about to go over it. First and foremost, Danza, his team is this on. So you already know my squad. Come on now, let's not joke around here. So I got the Mega Glade Weavile. He's got the Mega Glade Weavile Torn-T, which is Z user number 1. Amoonguss, which we'll go over Amoonguss here. I think Amoonguss. Okay, actually, let's go over Amoonguss right now. I feel like that was a huge blunder. Okay, when I made my transactions, I made them to counter the most likely playoff contenders that I would face, the at least most dangerous. And the most dangerous to me were people that Leo, obviously, who made finals and won finals last season, and I don't know, just there's the bigger threats. And so I'm not sure if Danza did the same thing when he picked up Zeraora, because yes, that's a better version of Jolteon, and so you upgraded in that slot. But then you got Tingrowth for Amoonguss, in which the thing is, the problem with that is, yes, you get grass for grass, but it's not the same, because what Tangrowth does is it gives you a ground check. And so when you have Toxapex and Amoonguss, they have very same roles. You're not going to bring the same... they're basically the same mons. Amoonguss and Toxapex. They're these very slow, fat, passive regen poison mons. They don't have much overlapping. Now, Toxapex, it can get up T-spikes, and Amoonguss, it can spore. But other than that, there's not much difference. And because of that, I'm not even gonna consider Amoonguss, because it doesn't honestly matter either way. Because the point here is that I'm going to win with ground spam, and he doesn't have a ground check other than the means of Torn and Sovali, which we're going to account for. But because he doesn't have Tangrowth, that opens up his booty cheeks here for the roster that I'm going to be bringing. But yeah, let's continue on the thoughts prior, okay? So, my team is designed to win with my 2 ground types. And the reason why is, one, as I stated, his team is very weak. He has Let's Go over his counterplay. So when I build a team, I have concepts, and there's different ways in which to win. And I already discussed, okay, I'm going to win with my 2 ground types. And we'll go over, okay, what conditions must be met in order to win with my ground types. Is a Torn T. Okay, I have to get rid of the Torn T in order to spam EQ. He's got Sovali, in which can be Sovali flying dude, but he's got a Torn, so he could bring that just because Sovali is one of those mons that has pretty good coverage. So, like, Sovali flying, anyways, it doesn't matter. He could either bring, we're only going to be discussing the only potential counterplay to ground spam. Torn T, Sovali Bug, Sovali Grass, Sovali Flying, Mesprit, Air Balloon, Shuckaberry. That's it. No, nothing else. That is easy to overcome, and that's what I'm going to do. So, as far as I go, I already have a game plan. I'm going to win with the ground types. In order to do that, I have to get rid of everything that I stated prior. The other thing is that I don't want Danza to control the offensive game, so I'm going to bring double choice Scarf with Crocodile and Scarf Chomper here. Also, another thing is, because I am bringing ground spam, there's one other condition in which I cannot win, which is because they're both choice Scarf is potential outspeeds and Weavile Ice Shard. So if he brings the Scarfer, in which I don't predict, I actually do not predict him to bring a Scarfer, because his team is he's mostly brought offense. The reason why, let's look over the 11 mons. Mega Glade, very offensive mon, and it's really, really annoying. Weavile, pretty much offensive. Torn, offensive. So, Mega Glade, it can run some bulk, but its only means of recovery is going to be Wish, in which he'd be a mono attacker. If he, Wish Protect, Bulk Up, Drain Punch, or something like that, I have checks to that. Talonflame, Zapdos, yada yada. So it's like, his only means of recovery leaves his booty cheeks open for so much counterplay to that. If you were to run counter, that only means of recovery, and then Drain Punch isn't really that good of means of recovery. So Weavile obviously doesn't have any means of recovery. Torn, it can run bulk, but the thing with Torn is that it wants to be able to get outspeeds, and in order to run outspeeds, you're going to run Timid and stuff like that, and that does take a lot of your bulk away. Plus, it relies on Regenerator to get its health back. So, we're gonna Torn's a god. But anyways, okay, Amoonguss, Toxapex, pretty much same thing. Sovali doesn't have recovery. His only means, basically, long story short, his only means of recovery is regeneration. Like, that's it. And random recovery on Amoonguss and Toxapex, as in, like, actual, like, recover. Whew, okay, that was a whole lot here. Anything else? Because I, might as well make it a little bit longer here. So, I'm going to bring offense versus his offense. So in order for me to do that, my team isn't the fastest because I don't have a lot of slow mons. They're kind of like mid-tier mons. It's like 85, 80, 90, 100, 102 speed tiers. My two fastest, basically when you look at speed tiers, you know, what team is fast, what team is slow, I have a Talonflame, which is relatively fast, and I have a Garchomp. Those two mons are faster than base 100s, and then everything else is lower than that. So, Danza, he just has to creep the Garchomp, creep the Talonflame, which he has things like Zeraora, Tornadus, Weavile, Mega Glade. These are all very, very fast mons. And that is the reason why I do not think that he's going to bring Choice Scarfers, because there's two ways in which to beat a Pokemon. You can outspeed it and kill it, or you can defensively check things. If you're running offense but like a splash of balance, which means that, you know, you got like basically the structure of Danza's teams is going to be like 4 offensive Pokemon, splashing a setup, you know, Swords Dance or something like that in there. Probably Swords Dance, Mega Glade or something like that in there. You know, maybe a Choice Specs Breaker or something like that. And then you have kind of like a Fizz F wall or a special defensive wall. One of them is a Rocker, and one of them is a Defog. That's basically like the structure in which Danza likes to run, and we're going to take advantage of that. So now you got the idea of the full circle. Oh, might as well go over sets, what I predict him to bring, but it kind of doesn't matter what I think he's going to bring, because I have a set in stone. I have a game plan. If he brings, because the thing is like, it doesn't like, okay, if he has like a Mega Glade, it doesn't matter what 4 coverage moves he has, because I'm always, so basically what I'm going to do is defensively, I always check it with Zapdos. Because it doesn't matter if he has, you know, close combat, Dream Punch, this, that. The very strongest thing Mega Glade can hit Zapdos with is Ice Punch. I'm not sure if it gets Stone Edge, but it kind of doesn't matter. I'm pretty sure, because I'm like pretty much max defense Zapdos. Well, I have a lot of defensive Zapdos. Let's just say that max HP, a lot of defensive Zapdos. Basically, Zapper is static. It can take 1 hit, and it is pretty much the defensive pivot into Glade. And even if it were to kill it, it doesn't. In order to kill the Zapdos, he has to be offensive, and he has to set up Swords Dances, or he has to play around 2 KOs, and then avoid the statics. And then after he does all that, I have Talonflame to offensively check it. So I have Zapper to defensively check it, and then Talonflame to offensively check it. Weavile. Might as well go over the team. I got literally max HP, max defense, Mega Mawile. That is now another thing a lot of players do is they want to counter the counter. So obviously Weavile is a very naturally good check to Mega Mawile is a very good defensive check to Weavile like 99% of the time. What 2 super effective hits does Weavile have in order to hit the Mawile? Okay. First, there's Natural Gift. So Natural Gift is one potential option, and option 2 is Dig, because Mega Mawile only has 2 weaknesses, right? It's got a ground weakness and it's got a fire weakness. So Weavile, it has no access to fire moves other than a Natural Gift, and then its only ground coverage is Dig, in which like God sets. Tornadus is like a legitimate fucking threat, because it threatens my win condition. So in order for me to win, I need to get rid of Tornadus, and then it has the ability to do a lot of nasty things. Okay, so Tornadus, the most effective set versus this team of 6 is going to be Hurricane, Icy Wind, Icy MZ, because it does 74.9% to Zapdos, and Heat Wave for the Mawile. That, like, I cannot defensively switch into it. I can switch into a Hurricane with Zapdos, kind of. If rocks are up and he's Ice MZ, then I can't switch into it. But if it's 1v1, then I can take 1 hit if I don't take any damage. Let's see. Savali, expect the pretty much same as Savali's last time. Zerora, expect, okay, obviously he's going to have Plasma the Fist, and then outside of that, he needs Ace Creators for Garchomp, and he's going to have Close Combat for the Crocodile, and then fourth filler move, whether it be, you know, Taunt, maybe Bulk Up, maybe Substitute, maybe it's a filler move. Marowak. This thing's kind of actually pretty scary, because if I were to play a balancy defensive game, something like a Marowak can be very, very threatening, just because my defensive core is going to be Blissey, which can't really touch Marowak other than like Toxics and stuff like that. And then Marowak, if he's not like, even if he was like Fire Punch with Lightning Rod, pretty sure Fire Punch is able to just blow back Blissey and gets a free Swords Dance versus it. Sorbo gets obviously 2 KO'd by Shadow Bone. Ferrothorn one shot by the Fire Punch. So I can't play if he brings a Lightning Rod Marowak. I cannot defensively play around that. Mesprit. This is one of his 3 rockers. So as far as his hazard control goes, he's got only Defog on his Zavali and Tornadus. And then his only potential stealth rocker is going to be Marowak, which if he brings rocks on Marowak, I can kind of see it, but I kind of he's always going to run dual stabs, but he can run things like maybe flame charge, Swords Dance, and stuff like that, in which that kind of doesn't matter, just because, as I said, I already have 2 Choice Scarf ground types. So if you do get a flame charge off, you have to get multiple flame charges off to then be able to actually outspeed things, in which you're not going to be able to. I have offense, everything, just like pretty much my entire team almost one-shots Marowak after Stealth Rocks, kind of, sort of, because pretty much only Mawile allows like random shenanigans, because I kind of rely on Sucker Punch. But like, if you look at the remainder of my team, I'm hitting Power Ground, you know, ground, Earthquake, Pursue, Banded Brave Bird. So 5 out of the 6 mons totally bull black. Marowak, Drampa, not a Pokemon. Steelix is one of his potential stealth rockers. So let's kind of like think of what kind of team he's gonna bring. Tornadus, he's got a very potential deadly set with Ice MZ. Steelix, Mesprit, or Marowak, one of the 3 is going to have Stealth Rocks, because I do have Talonflame, and Stealth Rocks is very logical, something to bring pretty much every single week regardless. Mega Glade, it's a GOAT, probably best Mega in League format. There's never a reason not to bring it. That's kind of what it does, especially because you can work around Slowbro. Especially the means of, I mean, there's much counterplay to Slowbro. Weavile, it's kind of weird because it has a phenomenal matchup except versus Mawile. So same thing, if you were to get rid of the Mawile, then Weavile can totally blow through me, and if Weavile does come, he's going to have something for the Mega Mawile, just because obviously Mega Mawile does kind of potentially 2 KOs everything, because it's meant to break. That is what it is. It is a natural breaker. Mine isn't, but that's basically the premise of this team. Pretty much that's what I expect him to bring. So let's talk about my team. Very easy EV spreads. Choice Scarf, Moxie, Crocodile, that's my main win con. I've been talking about it. Stone Edge, obviously, for Torn. Pursuit trap the Torn, because it's reliant on the regeneration. And Crunch is just in case. I mean, it's a filler move, but it also can be in a wing condition of itself. I was considering foul play on this just to deal with the means of a foul play Mega Glade, but I have a safer route, because if he's bulk up instead of Swords Dance, then foul play is kind of useless. And it's just so situational that Crunch, if his last mons have the ability to check my ground spam, like he has the Torn, Savali Grass, things like that, I can potentially Crunch Sweep as well. So I'm not reliant in just, that's why I like so much dual stabs on my offensive mons, just because I have multiple windows of winning, whether it be ground spam or potentially Dragon Spam, in which, let's talk about Garchomp now. So, Garchomp, he doesn't have a fairy type. Savali's not a fairy type. And if he does, so the thing is okay, let's say he does bring Savali fairy for whatever reason. How that doesn't, I'm planning to win with ground spam. If I get rid of his, like, Savali fairy is not a ground resist. So if he brings that, I'm totally fine with that. But if he doesn't bring Steelix or Savali fairy, Outrage and Dragonclaw once again can be a secondary win condition if the conditions aren't met with ground spam in order to win. And I'm adamant. So another scenario is we have also a flood concept. So the flood concept is Garchomp can win, Crocodile can win, or they can help each other win. So for example, Garchomp is more or less open. So I see it in more cases than none. I'm going to use Garchomp to get rid of the Tornadus. If Tornadus is an Ice MZ set, I come in with Garchomp, I click Outrage, I do a tremendous amount of damage. He kills me with Ice MZ or Icy Wind or whatever. Tornadus is then heavily weakened. I go out in a Crocodile, I Pursuit Trap, get rid of the Torn, and Krook sets up for itself because I get rid of Crocodile's check with Pursuit to then switch out later to then Earthquake Spam Sweep. Bam. Zapdos. Got the 50% berry. Pretty simple set. I don't have Roost on here just because this is an offensive team. I don't need to basically Roost with this. And if I have, this is very difficult to switch in. Even though like I'm max defense, it kind of 2 KOs everything without any investment. Just because I can defensively check things. The things that I can't like really hit that hard, like okay, Mega Glade. I can't do a KO Mega Glade with Thunderbolt unless he like close combats. I'm pretty sure Thunderbolt probably doesn't do a KO, but he can't do much to me. He has to contact me like twice with Ice Punch, risking what is that, 60, 50, probably like a little over 50% chance for him to get static parried, and he might just pop my Papa Berry. So maybe I avoided to a KO because the 50% berry pops. It's kind of like situational. I have the means to play around it, and he's not gonna, when he sees no lefties on Zapdos, he's not gonna know what item I am, because I could be a citrus berry, I could be a 50% berry, I could be a resist berry, I can be choice scarf, I can be choice specs, I can be if you see that I'm defensive, then you can think of more defensive items. Maybe I'm like randomly Assault Vest, Max Pizdef Assault Vest, call me Omega Jolteon. You get the point here. Thunderbolt, obviously, this still is a pretty good means to check Tornadus, especially if he's not ICMZ. Another reason why I keep going to ICMZ Torn, it is the best way to deal with its counter, and we saw in the other playoff match versus Melantosh, he used Grassium Z Torn because the only Torn check was Rotom, and then he got rid of the Rotom check to then spam Hurricane. So he can use the same exact concept this week versus me, and it's a very effective concept. That's what you see a lot in League format. Heracross, why is this here? Okay, I'm bringing offense and I'm bringing a lot of Scarfers. The problem with bringing a lot of Scarfers is that it is weak to very defensive teams. Let's say Danza does throw me a curveball and he were to bring a lot of fat mons. I don't have the ability to somehow break a defensive Pokemon. This is why I have Heracross. Heracross is Flame Orb Guts. This very simply to a KO's pretty much actually Oko's like a lot of his mons. This thing's very strong. This fourth move, so we got kind of a filler, but kind of not. This is meant to potentially get it. I never really wanted to Swords Dance here with Heracross. Now, where does Pursuit come in handy? Obviously, he has the only means in which to get recovery is mostly through regen, basically. Pursuit gets rid of a potential regen. It could potentially Pursuit Trap, you know. It can play some mind games here. Probably not going to click it, but that's fine. Earthquake obviously does a ton of damage to the Toxapex. This is my means to actually deal with Toxapex, just because it's like, Toxapex is ground weak, but Toxapex is also the most broken mon of all time. So it isn't, what it could do potentially to me is Scald Burn my ground types, and then I can't kill it, and that's really bad. I don't want that to happen. Heracross is a status absorber because I'm Flame Orb, like I'm meant to be status because I'm Guts, and then I'm Gucci main. So yeah, Heracross, Earthquake. Okay, Facade's the most effective move that I'm going to be clicking versus him, just because if he does randomly go Torn on Heracross, it's not random because he could go Torn on Heracross because he can take any one hit and then he threatens me out with a flying type move, which blows me back a million times over, but I have that option. Heracross meant to break his fat, specifically Toxapex or Amoonguss, which I don't see Amoonguss coming, but even if he does, like, does not matter. Talonflame, this is meant to control speed alongside of okay, because my team is so slow, he's going to run Modest, Adamant, not respecting, he doesn't have to run max speed on his mons just because I have a slower team, so I'm going to take advantage of that. I'm running Jolly because if he runs Adamant, if he runs Modest, this Talonflame abuses that. Now, I don't outspeed the Zeraora. If actually, I'm not. This might, if Danza, because the only thing that should outspeed the Talonflame is Zeraora, but Talonflame might actually be able to outspeed Zeraora if he gets like super aggressive, in which it wouldn't be like too crazy to be super aggressive with Zeraora, because if he's Life Orb, he's gonna need a lot of special attack on Zeraora to then 2-hit KO Garchomp with HP Ice. And if he does that, because like he can run a Life Orb set, he can run max attack, and then he can run something like max special, basically max special attack too, to then be able to, because Garchomp is going to be the switch into Zeraora, like that is the most basic one-on-one cookie cutter play right there. So if he does get like super aggressive, then Talonflame will be able to outspeed the entirety of his team. But if he's Adamant Weavile, this Talonflame abuses that. If he's like, no matter what, I decided not to go absolute max just because if Talonflame, okay, let's say Talonflame were to, like, let's say he were to bring Timid max speed Tornadus. First of all, he's a god, and two, like, and it somehow speeds my Talonflame. Because I mean, if he's actual like max, then he's a god. But let's say if he were to do something like that, oh well, he's able to outspeed Talonflame and kill me with Hurricane or whatever if I'm weakened. But the thing, well, first of all, I have Gale Wings, Brave Bird, so I still get the outspeed there. And even if he were to catch me, that means he's not running any bulk, and if he's not running any bulk, then that opens for my ground spam. Very simple. Yeah. And if if Weavile somehow speeds my Talonflame and he's not running Adamant, first of all, like, Weavile's like a 50-50 bring, because the other, okay, so Garchomp always dies at Ice Shard. The only way, like, I could have invested Garchomp to live a Adamant Ice Shard from Weavile, but the thing, it would require so much investment in Garchomp to live that I wouldn't have any offensive presence. But the thing, like, and I did not feel comfortable with that. So, especially because I have a Mega Mawile. So, if Weavile comes, kind of don't expect it, but he's gonna run Adamant just because it's going to do a lot of damage. But it actually, Adamant Ice Shard does not do enough to the Crocodile. I'm not Intimidate, but it does upwards to like 78% or something like that. So as long as I don't want to take any damage with Crocodile, but if I do take damage on Crocodile, I have to always keep Crocodile above 20% basically, or like at least 20%. Like, I always have to keep myself out of range of Ice Shard plus Stealth Rocks. That's basically what I'm going with. Garchomp, I can get a little bit risky with Garchomp, just because It can live a lot of things. Like, I mean, it can't live ice moves, but other than that, if he goes Marowak and he Shadow Bones, that's fine. The only thing I need Garchomp's help for is the Ziora. But the thing is even if he goes for HP Ice on my switch in, I get the outspeed and then I force you out. And if you're like randomly Shuka, first of all, you're still taking 1,000,000 from EQ, even if you are Shuka. And if you're Shuka, you're not Life Orb, and then you might not have the damage output to actually do any damage to me. And yeah, so that is that. Now, Mega Mawile, pretty much here to check the means. So when we look at his offense, it's pretty much physically offensive bar Tornadus, in which I have like no ability to switch into anyways. If he's Ice Z, but if he's not Ice Z, then I have Zapper, and I plan on offensively checking it anyways. So yeah, Mawile just gets Intimidate on things, and pretty much all of his offensive mons, they're like super off, like Mega Blade, Weavile, Zora. Just those three. I can get Intimidates off, threaten them out, and play off kill them. I didn't, because the thing is like I could have run like a more offensive but the thing is Mega Glade, it's really scary. It's very difficult to one-shot Mega Glade, so I really wanted to go absolute max defense, max HP, because no matter what no matter what Mega Glade set he is, Mawile is always, this particular Mawile always is a good safety blanket for him, unless he's Rob Jr. Actually, no, it doesn't. Well, it might matter if he's Rob Jr. The Rob Jr. is the sub-disable, and because then he just disables my playoffs. But then I still Super Fang. But the only way I think what is disable, like 3 or 4 turns, because then it still might not matter, because okay, he subs, I play rough, he disables, I play rough again, that gets disabled, he subs, but then I just Super Fang until my disabled is, and if he's that kind of set, then he's going to be really bulky, and if he's really bulky, then he's going to take a lot of turns in order to kill the Mawile, and if he takes a lot of turns, then the disable wears off. So holy schmolies, we go over a lot of fun stuff. So yeah, that's team building with Iron Flash Gaming. The game versus Danza is going to be recorded right after this, and daily content here. I hope you guys enjoyed. Until next time, I'm signing out. Peace.